Gardening is a lost art in today's world and needs resurrecting. If you gathered a group of people and asked them if they have ever pulled a carrot up from the ground, there would probably only be a small percentage that would say yes. Some children do not even know that carrots come from the ground. To have a successful backyard garden, follow these 3 steps: planning, planting, and harvesting. Planning is the most crucial part of growing a backyard garden. The first step is planning the size of your garden. If it is too small, you will not have enough harvest for it to be worth your while, and if it is too large, then you will not be able to care for it and the weeds will become overwhelming. Next, the gardener decides what kind of vegetables he or she enjoys to eat, because if you do not enjoy Brussels sprouts and you plant Brussels sprouts, then what's the purpose? And as Baker said, spend time, energy, and space towards vegetables. They disappear the second they are put on the table. Buying plants is another important aspect of planning. There are 2 ways to buy plants: seeds and seedlings. First, seedlings can be bought at your local hardware store. It is easier for first-time growers to have a successful harvest because the seeds have already been sprouted. Second, seeds can be purchased online or at your hardware store. They can be sprouted in small pots during the month of February. A benefit of having seeds is that you know and control the fertilizers and chemicals that are put on the plants from the start of the germination process. The next step is planting, but there are many aspects to this step. Soil testing, planting, plant support, and dealing with insects and fungus are all aspects to this step. Most do not think about testing the soil when they plant a backyard garden, but it is very important. As Tamolin has said, these tests test soil's pH and inventory of major soil nutrients for crop production. There are 2 ways of sampling your soil. One is gathering a sample and sending it to your county agriculture office. The second way is by purchasing a do-it-yourself kit from your local hardware store. Planting is simple. Dig a hole, place the root ball of the plant inside, and cover with dirt. Now is plant support. This is a very important step because without plant support, your plant falls over and can have diseases and fungus. Trellises are good for plants such as pole beans, squash, and cucumbers. Stakes with strings tied between them can be used for a variety of different vegetables as well, but not vegetables with heavy fruit such as tomatoes, squash, and cucumbers. Cages are mostly used for tomatoes, but can be used for eggplant, peppers, along with many, many others. As Hapuja said, these methods of supporting plants help with harvest and minimize disease and fungus. Insects are the most destructive force that will ever hit your garden, and it can take a lot of work to stop. Pesticides can be used, or a more natural approach can be taken by buying praying mantises and ladybugs, which are both predatory insects. Now, fungus is not as destructive as insects, but it can be very, very destructive still. The only way to deal with fungus is fungicides. But do not fret. Organic and natural fungicides are available as well. Last but not least is harvesting. Most think harvesting is fairly simple, but that is not always the case. Sure, you pick the vegetable when it is ripe, but how do you know when it's ripe? Tomatoes are usually ripe when they are red, but some heirloom tomatoes can be from yellow to black. Research the vegetables you have planted and see when they ripen. If you follow these steps, prepare yourself for a successful backyard garden.